Thank you for your patience. We're live streaming it, so we wanted to make sure that was up and running before we started. So I'm going to have Councilmember Flores come up and welcome us, and then we'll get started.
Thank you, Michelle. Hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming here to our 2026 bond program discussion. This is an open house format, as you have seen several of you circulating around the room talking with various staff members. We want to make it accessible to you in terms of information and also time. We value your time, so I'll just give some short remarks. Okay, so what are we looking at here? We're looking at an $840 million bond program. The city of Fort Worth is blessed to have the financial capacity every 4 years to do a bond program. We rely on bond programs to help us out with capital improvement projects, right? CIPs. And these take the form of major street repairs, road repairs, et cetera, investments in our parks, community centers. Sometimes we build new community centers like what we did in the past bond program over in Diamond Hill. Now this bond program, 60% of it again is dedicated to road infrastructure. Okay, that's very important, especially in an older part of town, which we find ourselves in because the longevity of those roads, they start wearing out, right? And then the closer they get to their service life, they start wearing out even faster. So we need to attend to that. So if you're interested in roads, you can talk to me about it. We also have our TPW folks that are back there and several TPW engineers that can give you really good detail as to part of what we're planning. Now, I just wanted to hit some high points here, not to preempt, Tony, who's coming after me to give some more information, but Diamond Hill, that area is getting some good attention. A lot of its roads, are going to be repaired, and including an expansion of the Diamond Hill Library. That's a small library, but it's a very well-attended library. We have Chris Campbell, who's my appointee on library advisory here. If you have any questions that he can field, he can also be available, to provide you with those. So Diamond Hill Library is getting some attention, right? So I think that's good news. Community parks, Buck Sampson Park. I think all of y'all are familiar with it. It's one of our largest parks. It has, a trail system. If you bike through it, you'll see it needs some attention as well, right? So we want to be able to connect those trails. But before we do all that, we need to have a plan. Okay, so we're going to have a master plan for Buck Sampson Park. And, with that plan, we're also going to have some design work done by staff so that we can, hit all those improvement points that we want to hit. Okay. As far as infrastructure, street infrastructure, I'll just point out just a couple of examples. They're in the Stockyards area and East Exchange in North Main. We did a traffic study there recently, and because of the high volume of traffic that goes through there, we want to be able to facilitate movement. We've had more than 10 million visitors at the Stockyards. It's right in the middle of the North Side neighborhood, so it affects us all, right? If you're not going to the Stockyards but have to go through North Main, we want North Main to be a functional street. So we're adding a dedicated turn lane on North Main to West Exchange. That's going to help out a lot. So traffic engineering is going to be on it, and also to help out facilitate traffic in and through the Stockyards area, Northwest 25th and North Main is also going to get some improvements. And I think in total, we're looking at over $10 million. So these are going to help at these critical intersections. Okay, major roadways. Meacham Boulevard, there's going to be west construction going on between Blue Mountain Road and I-35 to the tune of $9.4 million, just to give you more information as far as what we're doing. Now, there's plenty of other information that comes. Let me hit this one. I think this one's important. School safety, right? Meacham Middle School is going to get close to 1 million new crosswalks, upgrades to its existing crosswalks, infrastructure near schools that need to be improved. Sidewalks, again, on Ellis Avenue, Runnels, Northwest 26, street lights on Northbrook, and traffic signals on Ephraim Avenue and Northwest 24th Street. That's a brand new street light. $2 million East Long Avenue in North Sylvania is going to get a signal upgrade. So these are just some of the high points that I wanted to share with you. And then I'm going to pass the mic on to Tony. Tony, you ready to take over? Okay. And thank you all for being here. If anyone needs a translation, si alguien necesita una traducción en español, aquí estoy yo, disponible para ayudarles a ustedes. Y también tenemos empleados de la ciudad de Fort Worth para ayudarles también. Gracias. Tony, mic's yours.
Thank you. Thank you, and thanks to y'all for coming out tonight. Before we get started with the bond presentation, we actually have a short presentation regarding the 2050 Comprehensive Plan. And with that, I have a short video.
Do you place where we grew up? Where our friends will build dreams and where the choices we make today shape the world we live in tomorrow.
Our city is growing faster than ever, but growth takes smart planning, designing neighborhoods and districts where people can live, work, learn, and play within reach.
It's about thinking long-term, and now's the time to reimagine where we can go next. That's what the 2050 Comprehensive Plan is all about. A vision and a plan for how we grow, connect, and thrive over the next 25 years.
Think of this as a big picture way to plan. Instead of focusing on one property at a time, we look at how entire neighborhoods, streets, and districts fit together. How homes link to schools and work sites, and how trails lead to parks and community centers.
Imagine turning an empty lot into a playground.
Imagine turning an empty lot into a new home or a business right down the street.
We can create active neighborhood centers where people meet up with family and friends, connected by green corridors, trails, and efficient transit that link every corner of our city. This kind of planning keeps each area's character intact while giving every neighborhood a chance to grow in a way that fits its residents.
Our future can be a place with even more great jobs and innovative companies, with advanced employment and higher education centers.
Vibrant places, great neighborhoods, a city we're all proud to call home. That's the future the comprehensive plan helps guide for all of us.
So what will Fort Worth look like when I grow up?
Those decisions start now, and they start with you. Your voice, your ideas, your priorities, they shape the goals and policies that will guide our future. This is your chance to help decide how land is used, how growth happens, and how we enhance the character of our neighborhoods.
Join the conversation.
Share ideas.
And help us reimagine Fort Worth.
This is our chance to make Fort Worth a better place with fun.
So that kid is a really tough act to follow, but I do love the video because it really shows who the comprehensive plan is for. It's not just for you and me. It's not just for our kids. It's for our grandkids and even our great-grandkids. So the comprehensive plan is really meant to act as a summary of the goals, objectives, policies, and strategies that'll act as Fort Worth's official guide for growth and development over the next 2.5 decades and beyond, ultimately allowing the city to work alongside the community in developing stronger neighborhoods, safer neighborhoods, and a strong, resilient economy, particularly as we continue to grow from the 10th largest up to the 9th largest, 8th largest city in the country. So where are we now in this process? So we're not starting just now. In 2024, we worked with the community to develop an emerging vision for the city over the next 2.5 decades. Now in 2025, as we move into 2026, we're really trying to hone in on that emerging vision and develop the goals, strategies, and actions needed to turn that vision into reality. We're doing so by working with experts in the field. We're working with our departments across the city, all departments in here, everybody at the city. And most importantly, we're working with the community and getting community engagement throughout the process. We're doing so through in-person events, pop-up events, meetings, as well as online engagement. So our primary tool for online engagement will be Connect Fort Worth. That's connectfw.com/comprehensive-plan. It's also available through this QR code, and then at the end of the meeting, the QR code will also be available. This is the website where we have general project information, we have a project timeline, we have a schedule of events where we will be out in the community. We have any sort of online engagement tools available there, as well as updates throughout the process. And most importantly, right now, we have a survey that's going to be live through the middle of January. We're asking you all to participate in and share far and wide. This survey is simple, it's 5 minutes, and it really goes directly into the plan, your input. It includes questions regarding overall community needs and priorities, your thoughts on potential challenges and opportunities over the next, again, 2.5 decades, and then any sort of areas within the city where you think there may be some interesting opportunities for redevelopment or development. This is a neat interactive mapping exercise. And again, it's available through Connect Fort Worth. It'll be an image on the sidebar. You can just click it and take the survey. And it's all available through that QR code. And I don't think I introduced myself. My name is Tony Harold again. I'm the planning manager for the Long Range Planning Division with the City of Fort Worth. I'm here with my team. We have Eric Fladiger, our assistant director, along with a couple of senior planners, Anthony Cisneros and Ari Mitchell. We would love to talk to anybody here about the comp plan, or the planning process in general. And then again, we can walk you through the survey if you'd like. We can also participate in our in-person priority tool. So with that, this is the comprehensive plan. I'm going to pass it over to April Rose to talk about the 2026 bond program. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. All right, so with that, we also have a very short video. So I'm going to go ahead and move on over, and then we'll continue our conversation on the 2026 bond.
In the 2020 comprehensive plan, the City of Fort Worth is looking far ahead, setting an ambitious vision for how our city will grow and thrive in the decades to come. But bringing that big picture vision to life starts with real short-term action. That's where the 2026 bond comes in. Every 4 years, Fort Worth voters have the chance to shape the city's future through a bond election, a way of funding essential public works projects. For 2026, the city is developing an $840 million package focused on the foundation to keep Fort Worth moving forward. Out of the city's 67-cent tax rate, almost 15 cents go toward paying off debt like bonds. The proposed bond package fits within that amount, so your tax rate won't go up. Fixing every identified need across the city would cost billions, so we have to be strategic. That means making fiscally responsible decisions to deliver the biggest impact with the dollars available. Using data, master plans, and community priorities, city staff identify projects that can leverage external funding partnerships and balance needs across every part of Fort Worth. More than 60% of the proposed bond package focuses on streets and mobility, designing and constructing major roadways and intersections, upgrading and repairing bridges, reconstructing neighborhood streets, and improving pedestrian safety. The proposed transportation projects were chosen to advance the priorities identified in the city's master transportation plan. Another 22% invests in parks and open space, expanding recreation and trails for our growing population, guided by the city's new parks, recreation, open space, and public realm master plan. And the remaining funds support essential community needs that strengthen neighborhoods across Fort Worth, like public safety, animal care, library upgrades, and affordable single-family housing. These projects aren't chosen lightly. They're shaped by data, careful planning, and most importantly, your feedback. Help build our future. Use our interactive balancing act tool to explore the proposed projects and share your input on what projects should be prioritized. You and your neighbors will vote on the bond projects in May 2026. The comprehensive plan sets our long-term vision. The bond program helps make it happen.
All right, so three great takeaways I always like to highlight when it comes to this video is one, given the bond program, given the capacity of $840 million, it will not cause your existing tax rate to increase because of the bond. The second one is that it's informed by so many decisions related to plans that our staff, our various departments, have worked diligently to help prepare so it can help inform what the next round of projects would be for the next round, which is where we're at today, in that we're able to present to you what this proposed project list looks like. And then third is that this particular project list, the existing 2026 bond program, as it's being proposed today, is not entirely baked. We are here today to be able to engage with you, to be able to hear back, receive some of your comments, any of your questions, so that we can help inform and aggregate all of that data to help inform council, help inform leadership, so that we can come back to you next spring with that final list to move forward. So with all that being said, the 2026 bond program is as shown at $840 million. Now, $840 million, how did we arrive at that number? Well, the reality is that this process started all the way back near October 2024, where the city worked together with all of our staff to really aggregate what the true project need is when it comes to our capital public infrastructure. And that need was at the tune of $2.7 billion. So as a civil engineer by trade and my background, I wish we could cover all these projects so that we can bring all of our assets up to a specific point where we can continue to utilize them, continue moving forward. But we also have to have a constraint, and that is, what can we afford today? What can we cover with that $840 million, right? And so that is where we've developed this particular proposition list, where you see here, where proposition streets and mobilities is at 60.9%. Parks and open space is at 22%, and the remaining propositions from public library and on make up the full to $840 million. Now, of each one of these propositions, which each proposition is voted on individually when it comes forward in May. So whenever you do see it, you'll see it as proposition for streets and mobility as a single one, parks and open space as another, so each one will be individual. But what I want to point out is that in each of these propositions, it also includes public art funding, and that is per city ordinance that City Council has adopted. So 1% of public art is funded for the street through the streets and mobility proposition, and 2% are for all of the other propositions that are shown here. And again, that ties back to our City Council ordinance. Something else I do want to point out with each one of these slides is that on the left-hand side, you'll see this exhibit that has a lot of really fun, like little icons and some colors on it. That all details and shows where all of the various projects are located. But if there are citywide projects, which I'll talk about in a moment, you won't really see those highlighted because the assumption is that it's all the way throughout the entire city. But if you can't see it, say that you're sitting in the back, it's a little too hard to read, it's a little too detailed, each one of our tables actually has, related to the proposition, where these projects are located, and over at the entrance is where this overall 2026 bond program exhibit is located, if you'd like to hop in and see a little bit more. So for our very first proposition, when it's related to streets and mobility, it's at $511.5 million. Mayor Pro Tem really detailed a lot of the various projects that are included on here, but expanding the major roadways is at $199.1 million. Rebuilding the minor roadways, these are what we've kind of come to become familiar with neighborhood streets. That is at $129.2 million. New and upgrading traffic signals at $44.6 million. Upgrading intersections at 40.9, bridge safety and connections at 40.7 million. Now, I kind of like to pause here because our infrastructure is aging, as we had mentioned before, and bridge safety is such an important factor, as they are some connections. And so it's so important that we're also covering that to be able to utilize some of our bond funds to be able to cover related rehabilitation concerns that we can assess through the bond itself. We also have sidewalk and school safety at $28.5 million and Vision Zero projects at $12.3 million. Now you may ask, April, what's the difference between bridge or sidewalks and Vision Zero projects? Well, Vision Zero projects really looks at an entire corridor, and the goal of the Vision Zero Safety Action Plan, which was adopted by City Council just this past August, is really to look at an entire corridor and see what are some of the safety features that can be implemented throughout that entire corridor so that we could try to decrease the number of fatalities that are traffic and transportation related from that sense. So that is what that Safety Action Plan really helps guide as a North Star, and then from there our staff is able to utilize that $12.3 million to go through design, to go through implementation, to see those projects come to fruition. Next, our railroad crossings at $6 million and streetlights at $5.2 million. For parks and open space proposition, this is at $185.1 million, and this includes upgrading the metropolitan and community parks at $57.5 million. You can consider that sort of like Gateway Park, for example. That's on this particular bond list at $25 million. Rebuilding the Tatiana Carr Jefferson Community Center at Hillside at $30 million. The open space and land conservation at $25 million. Aquatic centers for $22 million. The Botanic Garden upgrades at $10.5 million. the Water Garden upgrades at $10 million, and the Fort Worth Zoo infrastructure at $4 million. So if you've ever taken your friends over to downtown, even just some friends and family, you've seen the Water Garden, so this kind of helps kind of curate additional projects from that amount. One thing I'd like to point out between the parks and open space as well as with the streets and mobility is that we're really utilizing these dollars to stretch and see what are some of the opportunities where we can leverage our bond dollars so that we can have some sort of match. Well, what does that match look like? Where does it come from, right? So we have regional partnerships. We are very fortunate to live in the North Texas area, where we have the North Central Texas Council of Governments. Of course, we have TxDOT, but we also have the opportunity for federal dollars. So these are some of our regional partners where we're able to work with them to understand what are some of the projects that we can leverage. Say that we put in $1, right? And they put in an additional, or say that we put in $2, they put in $8, sort of like that 80-20 kind of rule there too. So it's a pretty fun way to be able to make our dollars stretch, and it's a lot of collaboration that we're able to work together with all of our regional partners to make more of these projects occur. So next is public library proposition at $14.6 million, and this is the relocation of the Fort Worth History Center, the renovation of the Southwest Regional Library, and the renovation of Diamond Hill Jarvis Library. So the renovation projects that are on here, it's because some of these facilities are heading towards that 40-year lifespan, and through a facility assessment as also part of the Fort Worth Library master plan, these two projects were next on that list, and so this is what we're putting forward for the community here today to be able to consider for the public library proposition. And if you happen to have any questions, we do have Midori, who's sitting right back over here, to help answer any of those. So next up is the affordable single-family housing proposition, and this is at $5 million. So you may ask, April, how are these like separated? So $1 million within that $5 million is used towards buying vacant or blighted properties. The other $4 million is utilized towards funding construction of infrastructure to develop affordable single-family, single owner-occupied housing within the city itself. So when we talk about the infrastructure costs, that's about leveraging, right? Because again, this is about the public-based infrastructure in that we're thinking about the sidewalks, we're thinking about potential water and sewer impact fees, we're thinking about all this, the public aspect of things so that the private developer on the other end, they can put in their amount, their share, but they're able to, again, leverage our dollars to be able to lower the overall cost for that specific affordable housing. And you may ask also, what does that look like? Well, our table over here actually has some great exhibits as far as who would be individuals and starting salaries that would qualify for this particular proposition for these homes, as well as what the affordable homes can look like. So I highly encourage you to also walk on over here with both Michelle and Diane for all of your questions. Next is public safety proposition at $63.9 million, and this is for the new Fire Station 46 located in Southwest Fort Worth at $19.4 million. Rebuilding a Fire Station 40 at Northwest Fort Worth at $15 million, and the new 911 call center. Now, the new 911 call center is some of that funding at 28.3 is actually renovating the Zipper building located in downtown Fort Worth. And so through that renovation, they're able to incorporate some of the latest technology. As we all know, technology changes day to day, right? But this is a way that we're able to bring in all of our services all under one home. So whenever we think about fire, police, emergency services, this is a state-of-the-art type of facility that we want to be able to create and to be able to bring together so that we can continue to increase our level of service towards all of our residents here. So that is at $28.3 million. And we have Sunny here who can also help answer all of your questions for public safety. So next is the animal shelter proposition at $59.9 million, and this includes building a new animal control shelter with increased space. And this is intended to replace the current Chuck and Brenda Silcox animal shelter. Some of the background on this is that the existing animal shelter was built in 1998. So for reference, on the 2000 census, the city of Fort Worth is at 560,000 individuals here within the city. So we have since almost doubled since then, now in 2025, heading into 2026. And for every 1,000 individuals that move to the city of Fort Worth, there's about 25 to 35 animals that enter the animal welfare system. And so when they enter the animal welfare system, that goes into the existing space, but we're currently we're heading towards that capacity, right? And we actually have about an 86% live release rate. And from that, to be able to have this type of facility, city staff is proposing to bring it forward in a proposition to be able to take us through for the next, as a one-time capital expense for the next couple of decades to come. So how did we get here, and what's some of the history related to previous bond cycles? So in 2018, the city had a bond program of $400 million, and this is where all the projects were located. In 2022, you can see that the 2018 bond projects have been graded back, and in 2022 at $560 million, you can see the level of impact of all of the various projects that were proposed in that bond. Ooh, there we go. And in 2026 at $840 million, you could see where this proposed program is located. Again, it's still within the same ethos of applying all the way throughout the entire city. It's about how exactly, what's that next round of projects? How are we working with staff? How are we listening also to our citizens from that perspective? And you could really see how that impact is all the way across the city. So you may ask, okay, well, what if I wanted to see one project in over the other? How exactly would that work? Well, the whole proposition is to always recognize that we have $840 million within our bond capacity. So if one project were to say roll in, and I'm just going to pick a random one here, so rebuild Fire Station 12 in the stockyards at $15 million, again, this is a very high level cost, then that would mean that we'd have to identify another proposition or that same proposition to be able to swap a specific project out of that same amount. And so this is where we are here today to hear your comments, to hear some of your questions if you have any concerns over anything from that perspective. But you can also submit this through comments using this QR code. So if you were to take out your phone, you can highlight this particular QR image and it will take you to the www.connectfortworth.com, that's connectfw.com website, where you can have a bit of fun with a tool that our staff has created called the Balancing Act. So this Balancing Act is a way that you can see by each proposition, some of the projects that are on there, you can remove one, add another. Say you want to really load up a specific proposition. You get to also make some of those difficult decisions that council will have to make, and also with our city staff together when we come forward with that final list, right? So just to also give you an idea of what we have to come as well in the future. But the great thing that I really love about this Balancing Act is that for every submission that you put in, we're actually data aggregating all of that. So we're able to see in live time, in action, your input, your comments, and you can provide it each by each proposition. So we're gathering that data so that we can provide it to our council and to our leadership. So we are here today when doing community engagements in fall 2025, and we will be working to finalize the list towards the end of this year so that council can call election in the January, February timeframe, so that we can come back next spring in early 2026, really just talking about what the final list looks like based off of all the input, based off of the process in which we work with our council, so that on May 2nd, 2026, the bond election would be held so that our residents can head out and really make their voices heard from that perspective. And so that was a whole lot of information in a very short and quick time, but as much as I would love to answer all of your questions today, we do have all of our subject matter experts in this room. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up for questions, for comments, and at some point I may have to hand out the microphone. So yeah, you can go to start to raise it, and please use your microphone because we are live streaming this event, and so we'd love to capture that for our viewers at home.
Thank you very much. I am Rick Herring. I'm with the Gateway Park Action Coalition, which is GPAC, and I am here tonight to say a few things about Gateway Park. But first of all, thanks to all city staff for doing this over and over and over. You have to come out and give up part of your evening, so it's very much appreciated. But before I get into some specifics about Gateway Park and with the bond election itself, I just wanted to say, why is it even important to discuss Gateway Park or to push for funding? There's several reasons, in my opinion, and that's what our coalition is working towards. One, Gateway Park is one of the largest parks in Fort Worth. It's Fort Worth's only metropolitan park. It's about 800 acres. It's now bigger than New York's Central Park, although it's largely undeveloped. It's been called one of the big four in the Fort Worth Park system, the others being the Fort Worth Zoo, Fort Worth Botanic Garden, and the Fort Worth Nature Center and Refuge. And we do consider Gateway Park to be up there with those others. Gateway Park, if you haven't been there, residents, you should visit it because it has something for everyone. It's got sports fields, it's got mountain bike trails, regular biking trails, hiking, walking trails throughout the park, fishing, disc golf, playgrounds, you name it, it's got it. Just come see it and enjoy it for yourself. And in the current bond proposal, there's $25 million slated for Gateway Park if the proposition passes. And that is wonderful. But in 2024, the City Council adopted a master plan for Gateway Park that has a price tag in today's dollars of about $175 million. Around $170 million. So getting $25 million every 4 years in a bond proposal is, Gateway Park will never realize its full potential. But those of us involved with GPAC fully realize that there will have to be more than just city funding to realize the full potential of the park. But we want to keep reminding city staff and city council members, Councilman Flores, and others that it is important to keep pushing for the implementation of the master plan and provide those dollars to see that happen. And some of our members have been at every one of these bond meetings. We'll continue just to keep beating the drum for Gateway Park. And we may sound like a broken record, but if you say it over and over and over, it'll stick with people and the people that make decisions and can make things happen. So thank you very much, April, for your time and your excellent presentation as always.
All right, any more questions or comments? Yes, up here.
Hi, my name's Cynthia Zambrano, and my family has businesses on Northwest 25th Street. This is my cousin Lydia. She owns Transporte Zambrano on Azle Avenue, and today we were talking about the volume of traffic on Northwest 25th Street. I love the direction where this is going. I love that 60% is going towards developing the roads and fixing the sidewalks and everything else. So my concern was more of asking a little bit more about the Vision Zero part of the plan, because just today I went to lunch at my uncle's restaurant, Taqueria JB Jr.'s, also on 25th Street, and it's right across the street from Boyo's hair barbershop, where a car plowed through the building. It's a brick building, and it made a lot of damage. And I'm sure the property owner is having to pay for it out of pocket, more than likely, and having to fight with the insurance and stuff like that. But that's not the first time that that's happened on that street. My family also has a building on that street that's happened to. Luckily not the building, but a car that was parked there. My uncle has another building that literally, would be the 5th time that a car has ran into the building as well. So I kind of wanted to get a little bit more detailed on the action items that y'all are working towards that fall into that part of the Vision Zero plan.
Yeah, absolutely. We have our Transportation and Public Works representatives, and so Raj will go ahead and help expand on the Vision Zero Safety Action Plan while the microphone is heading that way. I'll also take your email, and we can also email you the Safety Action Plan as well.
And before Raj gets started, I can only share some limited amount of information. I know that it's still under investigation, but that particular accident, it's due to a suspected person who was driving under the influence and cut someone off, and that driver went into the building.
Yeah, and that happens often on that street is the thing, because it's so close to the stockyard, so it's like, it's gonna happen again. It's just inevitable, you know what I mean? And so today we were talking about what can be. So today I was literally asking like a contractor and a GC to like what can be put on there, like put against there so we can protect our buildings and we can make sure that our family's protected there. And so we were thinking about just coming out of pocket to do so because at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my family regardless of what the city's going to do. But with this plan, it seems like it's kind of aligning, and a lot of the things that the city is doing is really looking towards protecting the community as well. So if there's an opportunity to collaborate on that, then by all means, but that's where the specifics come into play. So I'd love to, make sure that we're all in line as well.
Right, so there's two part of your question, right? One is Vision Zero and another is the crash happening at the particular location. We can definitely look into that and see if there is anything we can do, signage-wise improvement. Usually we review those and make sure that, whatever we can do in that section. Now, Vision Zero is, the whole purpose of Vision Zero is to, that's why it says zero, like we want to go to zero crashes. So basically we are looking citywide, and we are also doing the comprehensive safety action plan. The comprehensive safety action plan will come up with the strategies that we want to implement. And Vision Zero is a part of the bond program where it's $12 million. So we are prioritize the location based on the data, basically the crashes data, pedestrian safety, and we come up with a number of projects. And as the fund gets available, we do those projects and go through the list, and when next bond comes, we expand that. Because Vision Zero is category to just focus on safety and how to reduce crashes. Because other categories are kind of like intersection, traffic signal. Those are already meant to go to a particular location. Vision Zero gives us a little bit flexibility of where we can do these short-term improvements, like improving just the pedestrian and those kind of things. So, but we'll take a location and we'll look into what your concern is and see if there's anything we can do.
Thank you, Raj. And thank you for your question. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions or comments? All right, up here.
Hello, hi. My name is Tara Maldonado Wilson. I do live in Meadowbrook, and me and Rick did not know we were going to be here at the same time. But I have, if you don't get the chance, I say you should go and play with this little tool about moving money from one category to another to figure out the things that are important to you. It's Fort Worth Lab, like kudos to this. Is one of the coolest interactive tools I think we've ever had in Fort Worth when it comes to this issue. I moved here 8 years ago. I am an ER nurse. As far as I'm concerned, everyone in Fort Worth is my neighbor. And as a Latina, I have a huge affinity for Northside and spend a lot of time in Northside as well. But with my toggling and with the future of us having this 2050 comprehensive plan, and we had the option to pick what our goals for our neighborhoods are, and a lot of time, and one of the biggest things is affordable housing and walkable neighborhoods and having resources in our neighborhoods like grocery stores and things that our families need. With moving this around, I found myself kind of, and I've spoken at a couple of these meetings already, but kind of concerned about what our priorities are for this bond. And considering that housing is not affordable for a lot of people, we have basically 50% homeowners and 50% renters in Fort Worth, almost straight up and down the board. But we know that Fort Worth has attracted a lot of people here, me included. So I'm concerned that we're not focusing enough on affordable housing. So through my toggling of this budget, this is what I came up with. We add actually $15 million to affordable housing, and at the District 11 meeting on Saturday, Assistant City Manager Dana said that we would be taking that $5 million and leveraging it for a $20 million use overall. And I proposed that we should take 20 and leverage it for 80. And I also believe that Gateway Park, which is right on the west entrance of Fort Worth, that's right off of I-30, It needs more improvement. And so if we move money, add 15 million to Gateway Park, 15 to housing, we fund the rebuilding of Fire Station 12 here in Northside. That leaves us, and we forego building the current animal shelter. It does leave us with $9 million to invest into the animal shelter, into vaccine programs, and into creating a mobile unit that actually addresses the root cause of why we need a new animal shelter, which if we're taking a mobile unit into community and spaying and neutering and giving vaccines, and even maybe using some of that 9 million overage where we don't build the animal shelter and actually put it towards a program that helps homeowners fix their fences for when their animals are getting out, then maybe all of those things outlined are also in support of public safety. We don't have animals roaming around. We have homeowners who have properties that have good fences on them. We have a park that is welcoming to everyone that's coming into Fort Worth from the west side. And we have a fire station that can actually serve the community of Northside. So if you have the chance, I would encourage you to go play with that tool.
Thank you, Tara. Any other questions or comments? Si tienen unas preguntas, también podemos hablar después de la presentación también. Okay. Oh, you have a question? Okay.
Hi, I'm Sam Cortopassi. I am a volunteer and foster with the Fort Worth Shelter. I was not planning on talking tonight, and I have a tendency to ramble, so I apologize ahead of time. The Fort Worth Shelter, the new build is dramatically needed. If you take 10 minutes and go down to the old Silcock shelter, you will see how bad it is. Let me say that and also say, I love my shelter. I love my shelter staff. I love what they do. They don't have the ability to do their job with that current shelter. The way it's set up is that old school pound mentality. There's minimal ventilation. The dogs don't have outside lighting to come into the building. The yards are not super secure. You have to walk the dogs out of a secure area to let them get outside. And they only get outside for 15, 20 minutes, half an hour at a time, and it's not all of them. It's only a few of them. And that shelter houses hundreds of dogs. Because of the way the air ventilation system is set up, it doesn't have the ability to adequately quarantine animals. It spreads disease. And I can say that having a puppy that came from the Fort Worth Shelter from Silcox. 3 years ago, when we had the distemper outbreak, he ended up getting distemper. He is here now, and he has multiple obedience titles, and he's a great little crazy dog, and I love him. But the shelter had to shut down during that distemper crisis because they couldn't get a hold of it, because it kept spreading. The mobile vaccine unit, great idea. That $9 million is going to go nowhere. It's going to last 6 months, and it's not going to get to the right people. If you have this building, this new building, where we can have people come in to volunteer, to see about fostering, you are going to get so many more of those animals out. You are going to build a community where you get resources to the people that need it. They're currently taking donations for food and supplies for dogs and families in the community that can't afford to feed their animals. They do free vaccination clinics all the time. This shelter, it builds a community. Last year, I had my own special mental health crisis, and if it wasn't for seeing my friends that I created from that shelter, I don't know where I would be today. Those people that I randomly met volunteering at the shelter, they were the ones that reached out to me and said, hey, you're not okay. Here's how we're getting you help. I got emails from shelter staff and leadership saying, hey, we haven't seen you in a while. come in. Even if you can't walk dogs or do training or whatever, come in, we miss you, we want to see you. If it wasn't for those people, I don't know that I would be here today. So to me, the shelter is not just about the animals, it's about the community that it creates. When I first saw the numbers, I have the text message I sent over to my friend and went, holy cow, that's an insane amount of money. It's all an insane amount of money. It's this post-COVID dollars, but our community has more than doubled since 1998 when that shelter was built. So yes, it's a lot of money, but it's also a community center. And it's something that's going to help people in the area. That's my long-winded thing for the shelter, I'm sorry.
Totally. Thank you so much for providing that comment as well. Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Mayor Pro Tem, would you like to have any closing remarks on this? I know that we do have this email and this QR code that we'll keep up, but thank you all so much for being part of this. We'll open it up for everyone else to still ask additional questions if you have any. And with that, here you go.
Thank you very much, and thank you everyone who participated, and thank you staff for being here. I think you'll stick around for a little bit should anyone have any lingering questions, but again, please be mindful, of these QR codes. They are helpful, and if I can be of any help, please contact my office. I'm here tonight, so is my district director, Marisol, and we're able to answer more of your questions and give you more context if you need it on any particular item. But thanks again. Muchísimas gracias a todos que atendieron aquí nuestra reunión. Si tienen preguntas, pueden contactar a nosotros en nuestra oficina y les podemos dar más información acerca de cualquiera de estos programas que necesiten. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you again, one and all.